So fitting here that the sun has shone all day on Anzac Day. Beautiful conditions for the Tooheys City Origin versus Country Origin from the Sydney Football Stadium. And under brilliant skies, referee Bill Harrigan will have control with some of the biggest names in our game get a chance to shine here. Last season, City just 28-26 over Country. And for the boys from the bush, they've got to go a long way back. 1975 when they last won, a side that included players like Greg Brantnell and Mick Cronin. Is it to be today? Alexander with the start. Stewart handing it straight off for Wishart. Wishart taken very heavily. Geyer over the top. Lazarus with his first touch. Geyer quickly in for another tackle. Sirenen was there to help him. Maguire back to the representative season with Maguire. Gillespie with his first charge of the afternoon. Amongst the shadows here at the stadium. Straight up the middle goes Wayne Collins. But into real trouble, waiting for him was Ian Roberts. Roberts looked to be offside from the play of the ball. He was trying to put pressure on Stewart. Stewart with the kick down, waiting for it amongst the sun and the shadow was Alexander. He took it well. Alexander bringing O'Connor in, but he's wrapped up by Russell. Collins is there, and also Paul Martin. McGaw quickly away for Paul Smith, making his debut. Paul Smith, the leading try scorer in the Winfield Cup, and a schoolboy rep back in '85. Flying over the top and going missing was Maguire. Smith back to his wing position. Thomas switching down the blind for Geyer. Geyer gets about 34 metres out from his own line. Lost the ball, and Harrigan says that he'll be happy to put the scrum down. Geyer not so pleased. It'll be Country who'll prosper here. Maguire. Just wondering if Bruce Maguire got a hand in there on the play.
Doesn't matter how big you are, you can still lose the ball, as was proved there. And talking of big, this City side is just enormous in the forwards, and it makes you wonder just how much the lack of mobility of that forward pack, especially for Sydney, will be affected. And Billy Anderson, maybe you've got some views on this mobile Country pack.
Well, Wayne, I think if the Country side can contain the City backs, they've got a very small pack, but it's mobile, and maybe they'll just outwork this City side. I know one thing, they'll still be going in the 79th minute.
No real breeze here either way, Bill.
No, there isn't, Graham, and the wind tends to swirl here anyhow, but Country won the toss, and I suppose Ricky Stewart hopes he's as lucky in the two-up after the game.
I'll go halves with him. Quickly out they go through the backs to Farah. Standing well to unload for Russell. Russell's the key man in the pack, the real ball player here. Certainly can keep it alive. Stewart, midfield bomb. Plenty of players coming down. Alexander climbing. He never really got a clear shot at it. He looked to be knocked away from the line of the ball before he climbed up. Now he gets to it, but there'll be a scrum. Now, was he impeded before that ball came down? Alexander coming from out of shot here. And taken away from the ball, I thought. Sirenen. He really has got to get deep. Roberts. One thing about the boys from the bush, they acquitted themselves earlier in the City first, Country first match. At one stage they got to 20 all. In fact, they led for the majority of the first half.
It was a tremendous performance by the Country first side. In fact, they, if anything, appeared to lack fitness in those dying moments, but they put up a tremendous performance, a most spirited performance.
The crowd really got behind them. Last tackle. Thomas. Thomas is going to get wrapped up on the 40-metre line.
Well, that's dangerous. That you can't afford not to get those clearing kicks away, particularly in the early exchanges such as this.
Now Maguire trying to milk a penalty. Harrigan would have nothing to do with it. Collins sets his sights to try to get to 32 away. Gillespie. Taken by Tuvey and Roberts. Still managed to get the ball back. Now Lazarus keeps it alive. They're looking for quick play of the ball. Stewart wants it. He wants to go to the backs. Cut out ball out wide. And standing out there is Glanville. Stewart Wanted to stay on that left-hand side. Carter puts the kick to the in goal. Alexander there. Alexander beats his Penrith teammate and gets to about 6 metres away before he's put down by Gordon. Now Smith. 0-0 to East City Country. Roberts, one of the greatest workers in the game of rugby league, both attack and defence.
And he can offload the ball, particularly with support players like Tuvey, and so can this man here, Paul Sirinen.
Well, that's the key, isn't it? He's got to get deep. He hasn't been doing it in the Winfield Cup matches.
Very hard to contain when he gets deep. When you talk about a man 17 stone plus, he's got to get some momentum going.
Did on that occasion, and City get out near halfway. Last tackle, Thomas has been having a lot of trouble trying to find a kicker. This one goes straight to Ashley Gordon. Russell, Rodwell, the two Steelers get together. Crowd thought that Lyons' tackle was high. And another Steeler, Wishart, but he comes to an abrupt end at the hands of Sirinen. Well, the Canberra boys got it mixed up. Stewart and Lazarus. And the Canberra coach is in charge of City. They're everywhere, aren't they? He's
biting on his big league.
Looking for the first try. Tuvey, Lyons, the kick charge down. Here's a chance, Russell. Luckily for City, he was grabbed almost straight away by Lyons. But a quick play of the ball and Carter gets out of there. Taken by Tuvey. Stewart. Maguire with quick hands to Glanville. Glanville was looking round the back for Farah. Penalty will go against City and Ian Roberts. In fact, I think he might have got one of the City players for laying down amongst the ruck. Craig Salvatore. So Salvatore makes his representative debut in this game. The big man from Eastern Suburbs, rewarded with his form for the Roosters in the Winfield Cup.
One of the real big men out there in the paddock. In fact, the City side has got 4 players well over the 100-kilogram mark, and it'll be a test of their endurance more than anything, particularly as the match goes on, as to whether or not they can match it with this countryside, who is far smaller in the forward pack.
A warm afternoon. Wishart, 20 from 30 in the Winfield Cup, 48 points, 2 tries and 20 goals. And a young man who played in all 3 State of Origins of 1990. He could be headed there again. Country sponsored by MMI, our great sponsors of our Sunday games. Penrith and East is the big clash this weekend. Wishart pushing that one away and dead in goal. So the score remains City and Country 0-0. The City first have already gone through one game. The majority of Panthers there on the bench, the fresh ones being Fittler and Vandervoort. Russell.
Very elusive player in Russell. They can't afford to give him any room to move because he does know how to use the football.
What about the difficulties in the first representative season match of the season, Wayne, in trying to get the combination going?
Yeah, the City Country match is really a tough match for players to play in because you've got basically 3-day build-up whereby the players go into a training camp. But other than that, it's very difficult to get a combination. The State of Origin is a completely different ball game. Today, it's just survival of the fittest.
The ball bouncing nicely for Martin. He fumbles. Lyons picks up. Cleverly keeps it alive for McGaw. Good skills from Lyons. Now City. Hitting it away through Geyer, but he runs without any support. Trying to make his mark now at Geyer. Assert himself in rep football. Maybe get an Australian jumper. And be a first-up starter in a test match. Sirinen was making his run, but the ball came out slowly. He had to stop, then restart. Eddinghausen gets it away for Smith. Doubles around Eddinghausen. And City with their first real attack here in this match. Tuvey. Wide and deep. Salvatore very wide. Last tackle midfield. Lyons stays at dummy half. Checks both sides of the ruck. He goes to Alexander. Alexander puts it in behind the defence, but it bounces up very easily for Gordon. All the City players were on side. He was trying to con them. He gets away from Hasler. No, he doesn't. He ankle tapped him. So good chasing from Hasler. Wishart with another run. Rodwell. The Steelers rewarded as well for some of their showing so far in the Winfield Cup. Wishart, Rodwell, Russell in this countryside. Switching play for Glanville to run strongly.
Big tussle on out there today between the lock forwards. Glanville playing in the second row, Ian Russell at lock, and because we've got Bradley Clyde out, we've got Brad Mackay out. It's going to be out of probably Russell, Glanville, and also Desi Hasler as to who could snatch that State of Origin lock forward jumper.
Alexander up in the line to O'Connor. Interesting that Alexander, he gained so many raps for his play for Penrith in that number 7 jumper. It's a bit of an enigma that he still doesn't get a start in the rep scene. What are your thoughts about him at fullback, Bill?
Well, he's a dynamic ball runner, isn't he? And he's got a lot of space to work at fullback. I think he's one of those very gifted and lucky players, Graham, who can play in any position. At Penrith, he's best served as halfback. He's what they need, and I think under Phil Gould, he really has got a tremendous understanding of how to work a team around the field. But at this level, he can handle fullback, no problems, and do a great job.
The job he's got to do now is to kick and find touch. Waiting it behind Wishart, rolling to the sideline. It won't get there, just short. But Country are back to 12 and 13 metres out from their own line and plenty of work to do. Rodwell gets back there quickly. Thomas has got him. Geyer gives him a hand to put him to ground.
And Rodwell in that distinctive headgear. He's worn the headgear for the past. Oh, great hit there from Ian Roberts.
Geez, if you end up in the sights of Roberts, you're going to get hurt.
But as I was saying, Rodwell's worn that headgear for the past couple of years. He was knocked out and spent a couple of weeks in hospital. The under-21s 2 years ago, and he wears that as a matter of policy nowadays.
Good run from dummy half to turn it around for Country. They get out near halfway. Now the kick from Stewart. It was Stewart that made this stadium virtually his own in the grand final last year, and another good kick here. Relieves the pressure in front of a good crowd. The far side of the ground, the great Australian salute with your big league straight into the rays. Coaches chew on them. Supporters use them as sunshades.
Losing coaches tear them up.
Well, I hope that's not a mouthful of big league. Hasler. City working it away from their own 22. Roberts looking for more work. Johnny Croucher, what about the footy tab on this rep game?
Yes, Graham, there's $16,000 in the pick to score dividend pool, and as it turns out, 2/3 of the entries think Sydney Origin's going to win this. 25% have gone for Country and 6% on the draw. The footy tab computer, well, it thinks Sydney Origin's going to win as well. 22 to 26 for them, 10 to 14 for Country Origin.
So the City boys the favourites, and one of their favourite sons, Alexander, puts the boot to the ball. Busy start to this game for Wishart. 0-0 City Country. Martin, one of the most controversial selections from reserve grade at Canberra to the Country wing.
Yeah, reserve grade to the Country wing is a big call, but he's a player, as we have seen in the past, a very talented player, very quick player, and he'll be looking to get involved right throughout this match to justify his inclusion.
Gillespie. The forwards tending to run a little bit without any support. Stewart goes wide, but his backs were flat. Carter forced back up the middle. He eludes 3 tacklers. Gets under Salvatore, then finished off by Thomas. It's on the last for Stewart. He saw that Alexander had rushed across to that other sideline, so he changed direction to O'Connor's wing. O'Connor trying to steal it down the sideline. He tried to be too cheeky. The City captain makes a fairly important mistake here on the first tackle. He tried to really get a bit too clever here.
Yeah, fundamental mistake here. He thought he had a little bit more pace than this, but couldn't go past Paul Martin, who, as we mentioned, is a very quick player.
Not a bad play, that, by Martin. Showed him the sideline. O'Connor fell forward, and then he forced him out.
Play from Martin. Ends up with Country with the ball. Carter. Dummies to Farah. Alexander was up in the line and didn't fall for it. Rodwell. He was selected in the City first last year, but injury cost him a place in that game, so he makes his debut today. Through the arms of Maguire for Farah. Just outside the City 22. Sirenen takes his time to get off. Carter for Glanville to take it inside the 22 now. Right in midfield. They set themselves either side. Stewart decides to go left, flicks it for Gillespie. He turns it for Maguire. They fumble. City try to recover, but they don't. Country get to it. So the scrum is forced. Some short passing from Country, but the defensive line stayed right in line with themselves, going up on both sides of the ruck. And Sirenen forcing the mistake.
And Warren Ryan obviously looking to work on that inside pass around the rucks and try and catch the markers out. He believes those big markers aren't going to be able to cover the little breaks, little gaps inside.
Well, that's all you need is a little gap for this man, Tuvey.
That's for sure. Great form at the moment.
Alexander. He's wearing number 1, but he's been in the front line all the time. Salvatore. Country called on 7 teams to select their side. It was a fairly even spread. Illawarra having 3 players, 2 from Newcastle West, 3 from Canberra. A single player from Penrith, Canterbury and St George. Lyons running out of support players. Back to his forwards and Salvatore, but good defence keeps them in the 22. As we talked about that advantage at the top of the show, City only needed 3 teams to pick 10 of the 13. The rest, well, they were spread out from West, East and Balmain. They get it out to halfway. It's good to see the crowd come out on Anzac Day, the big holiday. Harrigan doesn't like the way this scrum has collapsed. It will go against City. Thomas was the first man down on his back, collapsing the scrum. So it's Country that's enjoying the better start to this big one territorially.
Get the ball. Hey.
Collins with a restart. He calls Martin in off his wing. He runs around Stewart. Takes play well and truly in field. Lazarus away. Quickly for Maguire. Tuvey has stolen the ball from him. Maguire was trying to bounce him away. Tuvey just grabbed the ball. Sirenen. One big charge from him already. Now Roberts. 0-0 City Country. Salvatore starting to come into his own a bit. Great ball away for Geyer. Geyer gets it back to Eddinghausen. He runs round Gordon. Wishart is chasing, but you can forget all about it. A touch of brilliance. It started with a big front rower, and in a flash, it finished with the man they called E.T. He smelled out a great chance here on the Tooheys draft replay. Tremendous ball to Geyer. Geyer heard the call. He was flying, Eddinghausen. Wrong-footed was Gordon. He had no chance, and also no chance in pursuit was Wishart. He did the right thing, forced him away from the post, but magnificent from Eddinghausen.
It was great from Eddinghausen, but also great hands in close here from Salvatore and also Mark Geyer. Mark Geyer has offloaded numerous times this year to result in tries, and Eddinghausen was there to pick up the scraps. Eddinghausen has a policy this year of scoring 1 try a game. He's kept it up so far in the season. He scored 5 tries for Cronulla, and he scores another one here today.
Andrew Eddinghausen, promotions rep from Cronulla. What a brilliant dash. Skipper O'Connor with the conversion attempt that he puts right down the middle. They started the match as favourites and they get the first try converted. 6-0 City over Country.
The 1991 Tui's City Origin versus Country Origin is proudly brought to you by Tui's Draft and Nissan.
General Manager of the New South Wales Rugby League, John Quayle. Former Minister for Sport in New South Wales, Michael Cleary. Great player himself. Wishart with the restart for Country. To Paul Smith. Rather surprising coming from so deep in their own territory. Bill, one of the few occasions that the forwards have really been supported, though.
Yeah, there was a lot of rugby league in that tribe up, wasn't there? Firstly, Salvatore hitting the line, and then Geyer offloading, and Andrew Eddinghausen, mate. Once he gets a sniff, it shut the gate, but that was good combination.
Combination that Sheens will be looking for to continue right throughout now. Hasler. Lyons. It's been kicked virtually straight to Gordon.
It's been very disappointing so far, Graham. I don't know what your views are on it, Billy, but Cliffy Lyons doesn't seem to be getting much distance with the kicking game at all.
Wayne, I think it all comes back to what we alluded to earlier, and that was the difficulty in rep football of getting combinations. And to get a good kicking game, you need a good play the ball, you need good work out of dummy half, and he knows he's got to know exactly where he's got to put it for his kicker. I think the kicking game is the thing that suffers most in rep football through lack of practice and cohesion.
Collins. North Sydney coach Steve Martin here keeping an eye on some of his own talent today, as well as the opposition right throughout the Winfield Cup season. Little knock on now against Country. Handover for Sydney. Geyer. It really does need to get somebody outside him with those runs. So does this man Roberts. Flicks it back, but only as far as Maguire, and an overlap here for Country. Carter needed to get that to Wishart. Might still be a chance back on the inside as Rodwell. Quick play of the ball and a break on here for Country. Russell, big numbers as they go wide. Glanville cut out to Farah, who puts it down. It doesn't matter because the penalty is awarded to Country well downfield. Harrigan playing the advantage, but Sydney never got back on side.
Yeah, good refereeing there from Billy Harrigan. He played the advantage rule. Country fumbled the ball, and he pulled up the City side for being well offside.
Wishart will have this kick from not too far to the side of the post. Unsuccessful with his first. And he is about 29 metres out. Not a difficult kick for somebody of his expertise. Well, the reserves are nice and relaxed. They might be behind on the board. Scott Gourlay and Paul Dunn share a joke.
I think they'd be disappointed the sun's gone out. They get a nice suntan there today.
Wishart with this kick high on the mound. Trying to get his countryside on the board. This time he does. 1 out of 2 for Wishart. And now it's 6-2 City over Country. Alexander, who missed last week in the Winfield Cup. Just a minor injury. Now back on deck for some important matches. Russell down in his own in goal allows it to bounce. Coach Warren Ryan behind the railing there. He honors his countryside, bring it away from their 22.
And they lost by 3 points last year. He'll be hoping that they can reverse that again this year. In fact, since Warren Ryan has coached, they've lost all games by less than 8 points. So he's got a pretty good record, but yet to chalk up a win.
Collins. The man who went from Canberra to St George. A kick from Stewart to the in goal. Alexander, the type of player that can produce something special here. He beats Farah. Gives the ball back inside to O'Connor and backs up himself and breaks away. We talked about something special. He's laid it on. McGaw was inside him. He couldn't position him. But they have Country back paddling here. McGaw quickly. They must go wide. Lions. Well, the defence has forced them back up the middle. They had a major overlap out to the right. Now it's Harrigan who played the advantage a few moments ago for Country. He does likewise for City. And the penalty will fall for O'Connor to have a shot at goal just about in front. And a similar chance to Wishart's.
Yes, tit for tat from Bill Harrigan there. He played the advantage rule to perfection and eventually gave the penalty to City. But it was a great cover tackle from Greg Barwick a little earlier. But as we can see there, the Countryside well offside. And Bill Harrigan just waiting for the opportunity for the ball to die here and give the penalty away.
Giving it away, it might be 2 points for City. % for O'Connor. Back on the representative trail after missing the 90 Kangaroo Tour. No goal. He couldn't improve that scoreline. 6-2 City. Ricky Stewart with the restart. The big question on the selector's mind about Stewart, who played so well on that Kangaroo Tour, whether he gets the top job or Alexander in a blue jumper.
Yes, that is the big question. I'm sure that will be the major talking point after this match when the selectors sit down. In fact, talking to Ricky Stewart before the game, he said today's match was the first match of the season that he has been 100% clear of a groin injury, so it'll be interesting to see how he performs.
He puts Hasler to the ground here. Geyer has been running very impressively. Up the middle is Sirinen, basketball. He gets it back now. There's a chance for McGaw. Good covering from Andrew Farah. Quick play of the ball. They've got them in a mile of trouble. Out wide they go, and quickly Lions inside to Roberts. Roberts will be looking to keep it alive. Well, they did well to survive Country. Glanville got there. Roberts plays it quickly. Alexander dives over from dummy half. It was always going to be a try. It probably should have come a tackle earlier. They did well to survive that long. But what a great run that started it all from Geyer. This is the finish here. The Tooheys draft replay. Simple stuff for Alexander.
Yes, Country scrambled well here to stop this try on the previous move, but Alexander there seizing the opportunity and scores the try.
Yeah, Alexander reads things very quickly. It was on this play the ball I thought that Cliff Lyons might have taken the wrong option. He turned the ball back inside when Eddinghausen looked in the clear on the outside, but Alexander was able to salvage something. He realised there wasn't much that Russell could do and just forced his way over from dummy half.
Alexander, he's been up in the line all this match and he gets a reward. O'Connor, right out near the sideline. No goal. Impressive start for the City boys, though. It's 10-2 over Country. Groovy Toovey, well, in the groove at the moment is City. Plenty of confidence in this City side. And in this man, Alexander. He beat the first up tackle there of Collins, but Russell picked him up on the inside. Sirinen.
We've seen already, Graham, that if it be gone, here's
come back, Bill. Sirinen's done it again. This should be a try. A mile of support. Lions, they won't get to him, or will they? Wishart's coming quick. Eddinghausen will get a double. The smile tells of a classic piece of play. A powerful forward started it, and the backs got there with speed. They did the rest, and Country are in a real hole. Look at Sirinen on the Tooheys draft replay when he gets deep. He threw them away. He heard the call from Lyons. Lyons thought he could get there himself. Wishart it was who was trying. Eddinghausen decided, I'll have one right next to the posts.
I don't think Paul Sirinen knows how dangerous he is when he gets deep. The big Fair go there. Offloads Ricky Stewart into the open space. He can move quickly for a big man as well. We see some great support from Cliff Lyons, who's just come back after an injury. He sort of runs out of puff, but great positioning from Andrew Ettinghausen, who came off from off screen, end of picture, and scores the try. A beautiful piece of backing up.
Well, this is the price you pay when you have a little man like Ricky Stewart in the defensive line taking on a big man like Paul Sirenen. He fired the ball back inside to Cliff Lyons. Now, it was about here that Lyons needed help. He put his hand up and found it in the form of Andrew Ettinghausen. What better man to give the ball to 20 metres out?
Ettinghausen gets 2, and it's 2 tries in 90 seconds for City. Michael O'Connor made no mistake from right next to the posts. And it's Country in a whole heap of trouble, 16-2. Needing a big play themselves now, the Country boys.
Yeah, the Country boys have to gain some field position here. They've been going backwards for the last 10 minutes. What they've got to do is try and defend well against City and try and prevent City from getting a good clearing kick away.
Wayne might remember this, Graham, but in the first City Country game, it was 30-22, the final score. But, Wayne, I think you played in that one, and City were leading by something like 20 points at half-time. Can you remember it?
Yeah, that was the first Origin match, and they did come out well in the second half. But I really think that this is a different situation today. I think the City side really is playing with a lot of confidence, and I can't see them going backwards from here.
Russell from the back of the scrum. Then Stewart to Carter. They've got to hit back almost straight away. Stewart. Farah. Collins looks for his forwards. Dunn is out there in 15. Lost it back now, Russell. Russell shaping up for somebody on the inside. There was nowhere there. Maguire. Stewart. Showing the ball, but he ran out of supports.
Support is the name of the game, Graham. They seem to be lacking runners and lacking options, particularly this man, Ian Russell.
Well, no option here, so he put up the bomb. Alexander there, bouncing back up the middle for Goulet. Goulet gets it out quickly for Farah. Farah nowhere to go. Here's the call from Carter. Carter waits one out, but straight to Ettinghausen. They're having no luck at all, Country. Tooby gets out of dummy half. Interesting that Dunn is out there in 15.
And Goulet, Gillespie and Glanville having a rest.
Well, it was interesting, Bill, that McGrady was listed as 15. Now Goulet stands, unloads for Lyons. Hasler from a standing position. Goulet in 14. Lyons with the kick. Doesn't beat it like he would have wished to. Wishart. Bit of space in front of him. But Ettinghausen puts him to ground. Good. A run around for Rodwell. Going nowhere with this City defence. Very bunched at the moment, Country. Lazarus.
Alexander's pretty deep. They might try a chip kick or a grubber kick as a bit of variety.
Well, they certainly do need to break it up. Collins. Looking a little bit lost around the play the ball area, Country.
Yeah, they're struggling somewhat in there. They're actually, as I said before, they're struggling for runners and also support players. Again, Ian Russell there looking to offload the ball, and Brett Rodwell got there, but just a fraction late.
Paul Dunn should make a difference. He will give them some leadership and authority around the rucks, and he's a come-on player, not a go-on player.
Dunn, man that can certainly stand and unload himself. Now Alexander. The City players looking as if they're growing in confidence. They know that they can stand and unload, make a break. Here's Sirenen with another burst. We talk about players that may not have been showing their best form going into this rep match. Sirenen is starting to find it here.
Yeah, he's playing with a lot of confidence today. When he does get deep and come onto the ball, he really can tear a defence apart. Now, I don't think he knows how strong he is.
Well, Country's finding out this afternoon. Ball put down. In Country, everything they touch, nothing turns out. Everything City touches turns to goal. No angle here for Lyons, and he gets a good roll on here. away from Gordon, who was going to have nothing to do with it. And the scrum to go down only about 14 metres out from the country line. Stewart brings Wishart in off the far wing. Beats the tackle of Hasler well. But Sirinen broke quickly to tidy things up. Stewart to Rodwell. 25 tackles in the opposition half for country, just 12 for City. And yet City have laid on a couple of long-distance tries.
Yeah, strange statistic that. With that sort of statistic, twice as much possession in the opposition's half, you would expect country to at least be level, but they're well behind on the scoreboard.
Here's the little chip that Bill was talking about. Stewart cleverly got his boot in behind Enninghausen as it was bouncing up for him. Now Alexander, he leaves Stewart grasping at thin air. Great stop and start. He's got to be tired, Stewart, after that long chase.
Muhammad Ali, eat your heart out. Wasn't that a great piece of footwork?
What is it? Moves like a butterfly?
Floats like a butterfly, Graham.
Floats like a butterfly.
The Ali shuffle.
Did it easy. Hasler, right up the middle. Nearly out to halfway City. Picking up the metres easily. This time it's a lot tougher for Sirinen. Alexander in behind the line. Plenty of time to get his kick in. Between Martin and Gordon. McGaw's there. Well, Gordon did to McGaw what Alexander did to Stewart. McGaw turned and chased. Roberts got a foot to that in the play of the ball. There's 6 more tackles for country. 16-2 City lead. Roberts this time rakes it back. I thought he laid a hand on Martin there. I thought he could have been penalised.
Very sloppy play of the ball, nevertheless.
Lyons. 32 out. Cliffy Lyons, the man who produced such great form for the Kangaroos in turning around the second and third test, and with it, winning the Ashes.
And Steve Carter not giving him any room to move today. It's the only way to go about trying to contain Cliffy Lyons.
Roberts throwing a dummy to play the ball. Now Alexander kicking, chipping to the in goal. The chase is here for Gordon. Wishart got a push in the back as he was trying to shepherd Gordon. But good thinking from Alexander. He saw that nobody was home. He just couldn't get there, even with his pace. But there was a bit of pressure here for Gordon. And Wishart gets a nice shove in the back. Get out of my way. Deep breaths there for Gordon as they suck it in here, country, because they're under more pressure.
Really is a danger time leading up to half-time, so they've got to try and get a long kick here and a really good chasing game.
There's the long kick from Stewart. O'Connor. O'Connor has it 40 metres out. 6 handling errors against country, just the 2 against City. Geyer and Sirinen have been damaging in the back row. Tuvey. Tuvey taken by Collins. Sydney and State of Origin rep last year, Tuvey. Sirinen. The biggest handful of all so far in this first half for country. Thomas gets it back on the inside to Hasler. Bill Harrigan has called it forward.
I think that was a good decision as well.
Thomas just couldn't control it completely. And the ball ruled forward. Even with a bad eye, Stewart called back to place it again. Well, Hasler had broken from the scrum well before the ball ever came out. Should have been penalised.
It's a tough one for referees to try and police that, because the locks, when they do break early, they stay low. Referees can't see them.
I think it's just a case that they've got too much on their plate.
Exactly.
Wishart. Country really needing something here before half-time. It's been all City. Stewart Dunn was inside, but he had no other option outside.
And the tackler there again, Joey Thomas. Joe Thomas and Des Hasler have got through an enormous amount of tackling for the City side.
That's another headache that we've got to talk about. No Ben Elias, and the hooking spot up for grabs in the State of Origin.
Yeah, exactly, and that's wide open. That could well be between Joey Thomas here today. You're looking at Wayne Collins and also Mario Fennick, who played well in the City first game.
Here's a chance for Country now. Alexander penalised here right on the 22.
What do you do? 25 seconds to go, Graham. Do you take a kick for goal? We can see here why he got penalised. He was tackled by Carter, then got to his feet. He didn't recognise that he'd been tackled. They got about 16 seconds to do something with it.
Well, they had to take the tap. This could be the try that puts him well and truly back into it. Russell standing. Heard the call from Gordon, but good defence from Lyons to smother him. There's the siren. Harrigan's going to let it continue. To the in goal, Alexander's hurrying. So is Smith. They leave it alone. Sydney will go to the break. A very impressive performance for their coach Tim Sheens in the first half. Country in trouble here at the Sydney Stadium on Anzac Day. 16 points to 2. Dunn is out there in 15 with Goulet in 14. A couple of changes. They came on just before half-time. Alexander waits for the ball. Down deep. Glenn Lazarus. He's found it tough up the middle against this City side. Wishart with the restart on Anzac Day. Traditional day of rugby league. To one gentleman who's got a couple of battles of his own on at the moment, hasn't been suffering real good illness at the present time, to a former great New South Wales sportsman, captain of the Shield side back in their heyday. To Clive Sailor Johnson, all the best to you, Clive, from all your great friends in sport. Harrigan signals the last 40 minutes for Country to climb back into this one. Fumble from the skipper, Michael O'Connor. Is this the start of something for the boys from the bush? What a mistake.
Well, Michael Connor obviously still got his mind in the dressing rooms here, unfortunately for City fans, and that was a fundamental error.
Stewart with the feed here. Bring this game well and truly to life. A try here. Farah. Farah stepping away from Hasler. Taken by Geyer. Finished off by Salvatore. Lazarus settles things down, gets it back to Collins. He wasn't expecting it, and he puts it down. And they lose their chance.
Well, Country there trying just a little bit too hard, trying to push the ball when it wasn't really on. Offloading. Collins there got a terrible pass. He did his best to catch it, but it just wouldn't stick.
Tuvey away from the scrum base. In the first half, it was City who had to make the most tackles, 95. Roberts with 17. Along with Thomas was the best for City. 92 for Country. Russell and Collins. 14 and 13. It wasn't that Country really didn't have enough possession. They had plenty of chances in the first half. Roberts. Standing tall in this match, Roberts, like he has been with Manly in the Winfield Cup. Alexander had to scurry to get some time in for the kick. Gordon. Gordon over halfway. Rodwell a dummy half. Maguire. A former Tiger now with Canterbury Bankstown.
And he's been a real workhorse there today. He's taken the Country forwards up on every opportunity, and he's at least given them half a chance, and particularly Wayne Collins, the dummy half, he's given him opportunities right there around the ruck.
Now the opportunity is for Lazarus. They've got to score here. Stewart, they switch play. Carter in behind the defence for Rodwell. The ball bounced away from him, but Wishart picks up, tries to get to his feet to play the ball, and he loses it. So maybe they're just trying a little bit too hard here, Country.
Well, this is interesting, whether or not he was actually trying to get to his feet to play the ball. If he did, in fact, try to play the ball and was held down, then that should have been a penalty. Was he trying to get up here?
Well, his leg was grabbed well and truly by Paul Smith. Maybe the penalty should have come their way. Lyons. Taken by Russell. Good crowd here for City Country, 21,466 for the Tooheys City Country Origin match. Geyer. Maybe he has started to make his mark here in the big time after that Kangaroo Tour.
Yeah, Mark Geyer's really been the form forward of the competition so far. He's been outstanding, offloading at every opportunity. He's limping a little bit there, which is a bit unfortunate, but the good thing is that he's come up after last Friday night's match against Balmain in Darwin, where he was knocked out. He's come up okay.
Alexander, the Lions. This is off the side of his boot. Gordon. They will get it back to near halfway. Rodwell hasn't had any opportunities out wide. They really haven't set themselves in the backs at all, Country.
Yeah, in games like this, you've got to get in, you've got to make your name. You can't wait for things to happen. I've just got the feeling that some of these Country players are sitting back waiting for someone else to do something. They've got to roll their sleeves up and get stuck in.
They've had plenty of possession, Bill.
Yeah, they've had the possession. They probably haven't had the field position that goes with it, Graham, but you know, City don't really need that. They've got players that can score tries from anywhere, but it's going to be more of a grinding game from the Country boys.
16-2 to City. Stewart. That's the frustration of it when you're up against a good defence. They've settled on a bomb taken brilliantly by Wishart. Flicks it out for Stewart. Now he loses it between his legs, and Tooby's there for City.
That was great work there by Wishart. He went up in the air, got the ball and offloaded before he was actually tackled, so it was tremendous work.
He really did climb here and then realised that he wasn't tackled, didn't he?
He did. He went right up in the air. Great take. Offloads here before he is tackled, and that could have easily have led to a try.
Thomas. Across field for Tuvey. Tuvey to Geyer. Quickly for Smith. Smith taken by Wishart. He moved up quickly to chop it off. Roberts.
We saw at half-time Ian Roberts leading the tackle count. I'd say he'd be close to leading the hit-up count in attack as well. He's been a tremendous worker.
He's a workaholic in rugby league. Martin. Amongst the shadows here of the stadium, which makes it so difficult for our cameras in and out of the sun and the shadows. 40 metres out from their own line, Country. You can throw a blanket over them at the moment. Very bunched. Now they're trying to settle a back line. Took them 2 and 3 tackles to get that back line set. But they get a penalty to put themselves downfield.
Well, the game going through a bit of a lull at the moment. There's not much intensity from either side. Either side's still struggling to get their momentum going, and Coach Warren Ryan there, he'd have some worries at the moment. Behind 16-2 on the scoreboard, Country need to score in the next 2 or 3 minutes if there's to be a chance of winning this match.
He needs a forward leader, and Paul Dunn's the man.
Well, Dunn's got to get in there. Somebody's got to get in there and unload and find some supports. This man can do it. Maguire, he's got a step. Stewart for Russell. Russell to Farah, but the defence was just sweating on him. Now this is done. It's wrapped up by Sirinen. And also McGaw in there amongst the forwards. Now Stewart standing very wide. Carter. Carter behind the defence for himself. He might tap to the end goal here. Carter with the race. Try! Magnificent individual effort. That has really brought the stadium to life. What clever thinking. Something different that we've been calling for. On the Tooheys draft replay, he saw nobody was home just in behind the line. He also saw that his skipper from Penrith, Alexander, was coming up to greet him. He chipped to the in goal. His momentum here where he dived on it carried him across the line. Magnificent.
Well, Steve Carter didn't really have a back line outside of him as well. He had no option but to go himself. He saw a little gap in behind the line, towed it through, and it was a race here, and surprisingly Greg Alexander outdone for pace, and a good try to Steve Carter.
Yeah, Jeff Tuvey was up in the line, and that gave him the space to work in with his little kick, and when he put it through, Alexander was in two minds. He didn't know whether to come forward immediately or to wait back. He chose the option of waiting back. Carter got his toe to it and then fell on it.
Steve Carter has bided his time, this young man on the bench out at Penrith, and our Tooheys draft profile shows a young man who's made his debut and with it a brilliant try here at the stadium. 1 from 2 for Wishart. And he's only about 12-13 metres to the side of the post. Important kick, this one. And good kickers handle the pressure just like that. The Tooheys City Country now is 16-8. To try and get City down deep and hopefully stay there. Russell. Well, the game is changing, isn't it? Russell right through some flimsy defence. Chased and put down by Eddinghausen. Quick play of the ball. Here come Country.
This is exactly what happened in 1987.
Have they given away too big a lead here is the question. Maguire stepping. City will have to lift their game. Country already have. Lazarus. They smell a chance here, Country. Ball's been stolen. Another penalty will really put it to City now. An interesting call here. The ball being stolen. And what do you do just now? You've got a bit of a roll on. Do you keep going that way, or do you go for goal?
Well, they've taken the option and gone for touch, but I suppose it was touch and go as to whether they'd gone for goal or not, because it was a tough penalty kick.
Long way out, but it would have put them within a converted try.
Yeah, they'd have had a shot if they'd have had Keith Barnes or Eric Sims.
Well, Wishart isn't all that bad a kicker. Here's a chance for Carter up the middle. They get 2 metres away. Right in front of the post. Stewart leaking with Farah, who got crunched. Geyer put pay to Farah, and with it the possession of the ball. They went for the try, and this tackle put pay to it.
Quite legal and quite effective. Just ask Andrew Farah.
Just remind him it's Anzac Day, and we're at the stadium.
No holds barred.
Warren Ryan knows there's a chance gone there. Country have come out firing in this second half. Sirinen trying to find his form of the first 40.
It's got to be a case of back to basics for the City side. They've got to get some strong runs, such as that one from Paul Sirinen, and get a kick away. And obviously Greg Alexander's trying that at the moment.
He was chased by Farah. Tuvey had Maguire inside. He threw the dummy. If he had have passed, Maguire was away for quite a distance. A little bit of feeling creeping in now as these scores get close. Maguire called over. Crowd don't like it. Well, the tackle was high at the start from Maguire. A warning here from Harrigan.
Yeah, I don't know if it was that high. It probably would have hit most players around the chest or the waist.
The smallest man on the field. Might have been an advantage for City to bring that tackle out from Maguire. So Alexander, after Sydney were under a lot of trouble.
Yeah, and Brad Fittler and Van der Voort about to come on, Graham.
Salvatore. Fittler and Van der Voort warming up on the sideline. Hasler.
And City looking to hit back to the left-hand side of the field here.
They do that through Tuvey. Alexander into the line. O'Connor. Well, O'Connor had no other chance there. He probably would have rather not had the ball come from Alexander. He had no room to work with.
Yeah, it was a nothing pass here. He had no room to work in at all. And for the second time in the match, Paul Martin pushes Michael O'Connor over the sideline.
Yeah, there's sometimes an advantage for a winger lining up on the inside of your opponent, isn't there? Martin's doing that pretty well.
Terrible looking scrum there, Graham.
City front row can't even get down. Now they do. Well, no, they don't. Both come up. 16-8 City over Country. A little bit of feeling coming into it, as I said. A bit of frustration here.
Well, there's a lot of pride at stake, particularly for the Country side, who have not beaten City since 1975. Lazarus and Roberts there in a wrestling match. I mean, referee Bill Harrigan will need to keep a close eye on this match from now on.
It might turn into more than wrestling soon. Martin. A few gaps starting to appear in this Sydney side. Plenty of possession in the second half for Country. Goulet straightening. Stewart. Long pass for Russell. Russell struggling, trying to get out near the halfway line.
Yeah, maybe this comeback by Country's got something to do with the fact some of the bigger City forwards' work rates might just have dropped off a touch.
It might be about right too, Bill. Now Stewart trying to get that kicking game behind this new effort, but on the one hop, sitting up for O'Connor. Farah takes him on the inside. He misses him. Carter's there.
Notice Michael O'Connor there didn't try to beat Martin on the outside for the third time.
McGaw hasn't seen a lot of the ball. 45 tackles Country have had it in the opposition half. Had plenty of chances, haven't they? 24 for City only. Back for Thomas. Well, he's called him to play it. One would have thought that should have been a penalty.
Must have called him to play it at the same time that he offloaded the ball. Very difficult decision there for referee Bill Harrigan.
Or giving him the benefit of the doubt that he didn't hear him.
Country get the benefit, though, with the scrum feed. Back it comes for a second chance. Carter for Rodwell. Good defence from Eddinghausen. 10 apiece, the missed tackles. Russell becoming a lot more involved. Dangerous man as the defence starts to open up.
Very difficult player to tackle and very deceptive on his feet and also very strong.
For the second time, Collins not expecting the ball back from one of his big men. But they get away with that. I thought there might have been a knock-on in there. Farah pushing him to the sideline. They're going to drag him over. That'll be a penalty, will it? No. He was dragged for fair way. Was the tackle completed infield or not?
Well, if we have a look here, we can see Mark McGaw just trying to shove Andrew Farah over the line. I would say his progress was stopped before he hit the touchline.
Well, the touch judge certainly could have assisted Harrigan there. He just put the flag up. Had to be a penalty. So a bonus for the City side. Roberts. This time he unloads. And the scrum won't pack. It was a good ball back for Lions to give it to Eddinghausen.
Eddinghausen still hunting up for those tries. He's hungry for more tries in this match.
They're doing it tough. They haven't had a great deal of possession, though, in the second half, have they?
No, they haven't. They've got themselves to blame, though. I mean, they've given away quite a few penalties and dropped quite a few balls. If they in fact concede another try, it's their own fault.
Alexander waiting this one away from Gordon. Down to the in goal. It should stay in play. The best position City have had since half-time. Gordon, 4 metres out from his own line. Rodwell rushes back there. Martin, taken by Hasler. Tackles going quickly, and the Country forward still trying to get back. Wishart. That's a good play from the winger. Maguire. Wild swinging arm from Guy, missed. Stewart. Russell. Russell taken by Roberts. Now it's the last tackle for Country. They get another penalty. They've been robbed of the ball once more. Roberts is fuming.
On Tui's City Origin versus Country Origin is proudly brought to you by Tui's Draft and MMI.
Stewart. That ball looked forward to Russell. Russell will play it about 38 metres out. Gordon up in the line, ducking, trying to burrow his way through. Stewart. Dunn. Second receiver standing wide. Tall man. Trying to turn his back to unload. 16-8 City over Country. Carter. One great try from him already. That ball coming off Geyer. Scrum to go down right on the 22. Fittler in 14 out on the field.
Yeah, he'll be going on for Hasler, and Potter going on for Country as well, wearing 16. Looks like they're going to give Carter a spell.
Not the sort of man that I would have spelled after that try, Bill. Carter.
Yeah, remember when he scored it, he did go down pretty solidly on the ball and might have hurt a rib, but he looks okay.
It could be right. So Carter and Hasler off. Potter in 16 at 5'8", where he's been doing well for his St George side. Gets his first touch, a difficult pass he took well over his head. All the ball and all the position so far in this second spell, Country.
As they did in the first spell. The first half they had by far the most possession in Sydney's area.
Well, they've lost it.
Just couldn't capitalise, and as they couldn't just then.
It's exactly what they were guilty of in the first 40, and City live again. Very slowly to his feet, Salvatore. Smith. 7 tries in the Winfield Cup. Salvatore clutching at a leg injury. His first touch in this Toohey City Country match. Back they go to Alexander. Looking for the break to the sideline. Gordon is there. Taken low by Fittler. Rodwell. He's done the right thing when the ball hasn't come out wide. He's gone looking for it. Handling errors going badly against Country.
And most of those handling errors made in attacking situations. Hence the problem the Country have had with converting or putting tries on the board.
Maguire turned in the tackle by Sirinen right on the halfway line. Collins from dummy half. Good run. Now it's on the last. Stewart switching it to Potter. Potter in behind Smith. Alexander is there. Potter won't match it for pace with Alexander as he goes across field. Now switching it back for Lions. To their own 22. Familiar territory for Sydney. Smith. Dunn finishes him off over the top. They need a break. In the first half, they managed 2 long-distance tries from near their own 22. The likes of Sirinen and Geyer laid those tries on. They've been busy making a lot of tackles since half-time.
And this match really hasn't opened up at all. And it's a matter of 5 or 10 minutes, I think, before this match really does unfold as the players become more tired.
Was that forward to Eddinghausen? He's been taken out, or his running was taken out by Gordon. He might still get there. Eddinghausen! What a chase from Eddinghausen. He doubled around on the sideline from Geyer. It was a line ball that passed to him. He possesses so much brilliance. Smith got it to Geyer. This is the pass that was line ball, and what a run.
Absolutely dynamic player. He's got to be one of the fastest players to have played this game of rugby league for a long, long time. And he just showed here how versatile he is and almost scored a try from a non-existent situation.
Well, that was after he was just about stopped by Gordon and put out over the sideline. Tremendous determination. Now Alexander. And again, it's that City side producing it from their own half. O'Connor nearly slipped through there. Put down by Martin. Stay on a blind side. Tuvey. It must be hard for Tuvey to play in this side with so many great players who want to be first receiver like Lyons and Alexander.
And speaking of Cliffy Lyons, I mean, he had a hand in all 7 tries that Manly scored against Canberra last week. He hasn't been as dominant today. And the main reason for that was that Steve Carter gave him no room to move whilst he was on the field.
Fennick warming up to Salvatore.
Mario Fennick led the way in the City first. Now Eddinghausen again! Back on the inside. He's had a touch in another try. Paul Smith gets a try on debut in representative football. But what was a half chance was turned into a try by the sheer acceleration on the Tooheys draft replay. Keep your eye on Eddinghausen, who was in behind play. He scoops it up, puts the foot on the accelerator, waves them all goodbye. Gordon was the only chance. Back on the inside, Smith was waiting for an opportunity to get his try here. First time up in the big time.
And City had more people out wide. A great pass here from Geyer, but Andrew Eddinghausen today has staked claims for a centre position in the State of Origin side. He's played almost exclusively on the wing. Today he's had a blinder. He offloads inside to Paul Smith, who scores a try yet again in another match this year.
Paul Smith, 22 years of age, the boy from Penrith. And the Tooheys draft replay. And Michael O'Connor, the City skipper, adds another nail into the coffin here on Anzac Day, Tooheys City country. 22-8 City over the boys from the bush. King on Brisbane as we get back to Winfield Cup football. The action on this on Friday night from 8:30 on 10 Sport. Eddinghausen. Smith gets absolutely crunched straight over the sideline. He gets up to Andrew Eddinghausen and says, thanks for the pass.
Well, the boy from Gerringong made no mistake here. He had Smith lined up and just absolutely drove him right over the sideline.
Strong man, Wishart. Farah. The ball was just touched by McGaw. It needed to be because country were away. Russell. 10-7 the scrums to country. Lazarus. And the run around is Stewart for Rodwell, but he can't keep it alive and keep it going out wide.
Been a little bit disappointed in the country backs today, Graham. They haven't really given themselves much room to move. They haven't played with any depth, and they haven't seen much of the ball.
But again, that goes back to what we were talking about, the advantage for Sydney. You look at the back line of country, the centres, a Cronulla pairing of Eddinghausen and McGaw, the 5'8" and half-back Manly, Lyons and Tuvey, and then the lock forward was Hasler. He's from Manly. Now, a little bit of a fumble for Alexander, but he gets out of the in goal.
Yeah, much more cohesion for as the kick through here.
Well, the kick from Maguire will go deep and dead in goal and back to the 22.
As I was saying, Graham, there's much more cohesion in this City side today, and that's been a big factor in such a strong showing. It's really been a case of playing for one another in the City side and playing as individuals in the countryside.
Now, Glenn Lazarus was headed to the bench. He had just been replaced. Now he's going to be called back by the touch judge. This was for a bit of a disagreement between he and Ian Roberts, who we saw a while ago in the scrum. It was a bit of a wrestling match. Nothing but a warning will eventuate here, and Lazarus will get to go back to the bench. Leave it alone, says Harrigan. Lazarus agrees. I'm off for a rest. Fennick. Vandervoort into dummy half. It may still well be that Mario Fennick could end up in the hooking role in the state team.
I don't think much has been resolved as a result of today's match. It's still very much an open position.
Smith. He's done well all season long, and here again today to show that he's on line for maybe a wing spot. Vandervoort picks up the dregs. 23 kicks in play from country, 18 from City. The majority of them from this man, Alexander. Look at him on his feet. How many tackles did he beat? This could be a miracle try. Well, McGaw, I think, overran him. He should have stayed a little bit further back. Didn't give him too much of a chance there with the pass infield. I thought Alexander might have even chipped over the top for himself.
He had 3 or 4 support players here, and he offloaded the ball. It wasn't a very good pass. Look how tremendous he is on his feet. He's terrible when he's running towards you, I can assure you of that.
I thought McGaw put pressure on him, and the replay there showed that he just stayed up too flat, McGaw. He should have been behind him.
Didn't give Alexander time to react.
Rodwell. Ball went forward. The advantage played for City. Roberts will pick it up and restart. Little Ewan McGrady trying to take the big man.
And that was great work from a front rower to get back and cover in that situation.
I wouldn't like to be paying him $1 a tackle.
Got a tremendous work rate, I can assure you of that. Him and Desi Hasler have really worked their butts off today.
Keeping it alive for Lyons. Stands, finds Alexander to the outside of Farah. Now O'Connor on the inside, taken by Stewart. What more opportunity for the Sydney backs? Paul Clark out there in 17, 22-8 for City. Rolling nicely for Alexander. He and Eddinghausen have been the stars out amongst the backs. Big Steve Roach and Roach Jr. Little blocker.
Big Dan Roach, they call him.
Big Dan Roach.
Big Dan.
Brittany's dad telling his dad how to play rugby league.
He gives him a hiding at home too, Steve says.
The coach of Roach. Just inside the 22, McGrady will play it. Rodwell. City coach Tim Sheens must be pleased. He might look it, but he must be pleased with the form of the Sydney side and the talent that he's going to take control of in the State of Origin.
Yeah, there's been a lot of good performances out there, and it will be a very strong New South Wales side this year, and they must go into this Origin series as favourites.
Gillespie slipping it to Wishart. Wishart getting clear. Chased and put down by Eddinghausen. Collins. Stewart. They go wide. They've got numbers here. McGrady. McGrady heard a call, but it came from one of the City players. Thomas will play it.
It was a great tackle by Colin Vandervoort there in cover defence, because Ewan McGrady was all but through, and Colin Vandervoort has really played well since he's come on the field, which has only been 5 minutes. He's got a tremendous work rate himself, and he's only recently come back from almost a total reconstruction of that knee.
Something like 1.5 first grade games before he got picked in the representative scene.
Yeah, tremendous effort, and a player with a lot of ability.
The scrum will go down about 35 metres out from the country line as we go inside the last 5 minutes. Paul Clark just losing it.
And talking about losing it, Ian Russell there is a perfectionist at that type of tackle. It's a cross between a Cumberland throw and a wrestle. Does it most effectively.
Reminds me of the sort of tackle that Ray Price was good at.
Yeah, very, very similar.
Potter gets it to Glanville. He and Gillespie are back out there. They've spent quite a time off the field. Maguire. McGrady trying to trail the forwards through. Trying to find a half chance. But those chances are falling for City too often. Vandervoort. It's still going to be a big puzzle, Bill, on the weekend for the state selectors.
Yeah, it will be. I think a couple of things have worked themselves out. Wishart obviously is going to get one wing spot in the way he's played. I think Alexander's going to be the fullback, but mate, I'm none the wiser, Graham, as to who the lock forward's going to be or who the hooker's going to be.
And on Eddinghausen's performance today, Bill, do you throw him in the centres?
Well, he's unfortunate, isn't he, because he plays so well at fullback, wing or in the centres, but I'm sure that centre's the position he prefers to play.
Well, look at the fullback role of this man. Linking with Hasler, Alexander, then to Tuvey. But Tuvey couldn't get himself clear there. He got in a real tangle with the tackle put on Hasler as well. He's hurt himself. But the footwork again from Alexander, just creating his own space. Keeping it alive for Hasler, then Tuvey getting mixed up with the tackle there from McGrady, and he puts it down.
Well, I think Hasler should have passed a bit earlier, and Tuvey appeared to be in the clear.
Potter, he couldn't get into the clear. Farah. Toohey City Country, it's 22-8. Great to have Tooheys aboard with us. And all our sponsors in the Rugby League. And this and Friday nighter. Tomorrow night, West taking on Brisbane. And on Sunday, our MMI big game. Penrith up against East. Goulet. Had Gillespie outside him. Now he's got McGrady. McGrady takes off. Back on the infield. Gordon. They get a late try. One of the few times they've really linked up out wide. Gordon gets on the end of it. The Tooheys draft replay. Goulet standing. Gillespie had gone without. McGrady just went whoosh. Surprising pace that he's got, and he positioned Gordon perfectly on the inside.
He was hanging on, O'Connor, but couldn't do anything about it. Then Scott Goulet out wide again, as he has been with St George for most of the season. Very difficult to contain. Offloads to the boy from Moree. Now just look at him take off. 100 miles an hour he goes up the sideline. Great support play here on the inside from Ashley Gordon. Very good finishing, and another try to country.
Well, Goulet has got this ability, hasn't he, to get himself out wide, get his hands free and pop the ball up to supports. He's done it all year in the Winfield Cup, and there he does it again. Ewan McGrady shrugs free of a tackle. Played very well here, McGrady. He was always trying to position Gordon as a support. Gordon gave him due deference, and in he goes for the 4 points.
Ashley Gordon with the try, Wishart with the attempted goal, but he can't bring it around enough. They get to double figures, Country. Toohey City Country, it's 22-12. Crowd starting to leave as we're well and truly inside that last 5. And the dominance by City remains. Alexander. Stewart. About a minute to go. Gordon taken by Tuvey. Russell. Collins. Russell stepping up the middle. Tuvey back in cover defence and takes him. Is there a last throw here left in Country? Little chip from Stewart. Then again he puts the foot to the ball. O'Connor's coming across. O'Connor is there, and he's taken by Stewart. Big reward coming up for one of these players in this Toohey's City Country match. Our man of the match will pick up $1,500 from Toohey's draft. Quite a prize. And we're only a couple of minutes away from settling on just who that will be. Timmy Sheens gets the handshake for a job well done as City coach. The Sydney boys get home. They always controlled the match. Too good out in the backs. Some great play in the first half from their big forwards to lay on some tries from deep inside their own half. Country came back just after the break, but it was never enough. 22-12. Eddinghausen got a double in the first half. Alexander and Smith tries. O'Connor 3 goals. Carter and Gordon, the try scorers for Country, 2 goals to Wishart. 22-12 after this break. We will be